people live in South Africa? What kind of people? What kind of people live in South Africa right now? They run the place. White people, the Dutch, right? What language do they speak in South Africa? What's it called?
Afrikaans.
Afrikaans. So why would the white man come take a place and name the language he speaks there Afrikaans if it's not their language? That's because that's their words. Afrikaan is their word. You understand? That's why they named the language they speak in South Africa with 2 A's, and a K. Back to the Greek and Roman pronunciation. Afrikaans, that's the language that they speak there. You trying to give that title to some Ethiopian tribe, man, and that's erroneous, brother. You can't do that.
That's actually factual with what I'm saying.
You keep saying facts, and we went through dialect, we went through books. I don't know what he wants.
I want to hear what he got to say.
What's your question?
No, I just want to hear. No, it's about that. I just want to hear what your side is.
Let's hear your facts.
Basically, what I'm saying is that as far as just the term Africa itself, it originates from the such an Afro tribe. That's all I was saying.
Says who?
Have you ever heard of the Afro tribe? That's a good question.
I have.
Yeah.
I've actually heard your argument before. So I'm just saying, what's your primary source to base
That's the question. What makes it facts?
It's the Afro tribe, named Afro tribe. You just look it up.
And they're older than every tribe in Africa. So to speak that,
you gotta understand
the language and dialect of the place was named after them.
So they're not the oldest people.
No, you didn't listen to my question. You answered before I finished. If the name Africa comes from the Afro tribe, that means even Leo Scipio got his name from those people. So that means that they predate even the Punic War.
They did.
So that means that even before the Punic War, people was calling the whole landmass Africa because of that tribe. So then why would the Romans, when they award Leo Scipio for conquering the place, why would they name him after a small group of people?
And after a small group of people that they didn't even conquer.
I just said we might not know what the original name of what we call Africa is. That's what I said.
We're telling you where it came from.
And we know the original name of Africa.
I'm listening. Go ahead.
It was either Ham, which is the first name, or we have Al-Kibulan, which is the name that's Hebrew.
So you telling me that everybody
you know how old Hebrew is?
Antiquity was speaking Hebrew?
Hebrew was the first name.
What does the word Hebrew mean?
Have you heard of
crossover? What? Okay, so what Hebrew was before Abraham?
Salakia.
We can get it.
Salakia.
All right, go ahead. Wait. What are you gonna say?
Do you know
Genesis 14?
have you heard have you heard of Mesopotamia before? Because that's around the time of Abraham, right? That wasn't Israel yet, right? Right. What language was everybody speaking in Mesopotamia? Because there wasn't multiple languages.
You have Phoenician.
Phoenician comes from
Phoenician is after Mesopotamia. I asked for Mesopotamia, bro. There's only one language in Mesopotamia.
Okay, what language is that?
It's called cuneiform, and it wasn't.
Well, that's the writing style.
Well, that's the writing style. But I'm saying there's only one writing style, so there was only one language that came from the writing style.
So writing style ain't the name language.
They called the language, what they call it now is quote unquote Old Canaanite. Before Old Canaanite, we know it as what they call now Paleo Hebrew, right? Or in the Hebrew, we call it now the Lashawan Kadash, meaning that in Mesopotamia, they were speaking the same language that we decided to speak when Abraham brought it down because he was a Mesopotamian. He was a Chaldean, right? So he was speaking.
Who was ruling the Chaldeans during that particular time?
It was no, it was the Assyrians. It was the Assyrians.
Correct, brother. It was the Egyptians in control of those lands.
Bro, the Egyptians didn't exist yet. Mesopotamia is before Egypt.
Okay, just the name itself. Let's call them Nubians then. How about that?
The Nubians are in Africa before.
Here's what I'm saying though.
This is after Mesopotamia.
Brother.
Have you heard of the Pleistocene epic?
Oh, right.
Have you heard of the Pleistocene epic? Nobody was living in Africa after the Pleistocene epic. The only place they were living was the place that they now call the Middle East or the Fertile Crescent, which was Mesopotamia. Which that is true. That's facts. You can look that up. Anybody can tell you that. It's taught in all the universities, even in Africa.
I disagree with it. But here's what I'm saying.
Based on what?
Yeah,
facts.
What facts do you have to overthrow all the universities in the world, even the ones in Africa?
Wait. I brought you three. Don't do that.
Come on, bro.
I brought you three primary sources.
He named a language, bro.
You said that's no.
I gave you the name of the language. Old Canaanite is what the white professors called it.
You didn't give the original name.
Because the original name is Lashawan Kodash.
Wait, brother.
I gave you the original name. Lashawan Kodash.
Let's not get on track. Let's not get off track, bro.
Never.
You weren't listening.
Of course, the response is gonna be too different. We come from two different understandings.
No, I'm coming from scholastic understanding.
Yeah. I'm a scholar.
See, you being biased though.
How?
You don't know what type of books I read.
You told us that the Afar tribe came up with the name that Ethiopians don't have in their language.
You didn't ask me what type of books I read.
I said I want to.
I'm an African American studies major, bro.
What type of books I read.
You understand?
That don't mean you know it.
Hold on. Let him demonstrate and prove all things.
Go ahead.
He asked where I get the
Well, I'm saying I've
understanding.
beaten the head of this.
Oh. Let's put the context for the people so they understand what we're talking about. This is healthy. This is very healthy. This is better than us robbing, doing stick-ups on each other, right?
We build it.
This
It's
is
called a
much
cipher.
better.
That's all it is.
That's why we like this.
It's a cipher right here. You
Now,
gotta show and prove what you
where we get how the Punic Wars was won and who Hannibal is, I gave you a source.
Okay.
I want you to go to portal.
Can anybody pull it up while we here?
Can I finish? I want you to go to portal.getty.edu. This is a repository for books. There are about 14 million books that are set to be destroyed because there's no place to hold them. We're not going to libraries like we used to. You go into certain rooms in libraries and all the books are dusty because ain't nobody going in there. So they have an initiative to remove these books so that they can make currency off of that office space area in all these universities, man. Nobody's using the library. You know how you used to have to get a ticket and you have to go in the library and you have to find your book with the call number? Nobody doing that no more. So there's a repository of about 14 million books stretching back to the 1200s. These are written actual texts, right? Primary sources set to be destroyed. If you want to read them, you go to portal.getty.edu. You type in Punic War. A book is going to come up discussing the Second Punic War. And that'll give you not only the history of Hannibal versus Leo Scipio, it goes before them because Leo Scipio's during the Second Punic War. So that obviously had to be at first. So they're going to go and explain everything before that. Not only who was Caesar at the time, but the climate of Rome. Not only Hannibal's wins and losses during that war, but also the condition of his troops they go into. I read this, it was amazing. That's where some of my information is coming from. A book written in the 1400s that I read for myself.
It also explains to you how they named Europe after, the Phoenician woman Europa.
Now,
What's a black woman?
wait, I'm gonna give you the second source. Using practical knowledge, understanding what a proto-synaptic language is, and knowing when our vowels were created, I use that as a beginning point to contend that Africa is a so-called African word. That's what I'm contending. That's not even an African word because it uses vowels that. Look, you want him to talk. I'm explaining to you my sources. I'm just explaining to you my sources. You know what I'm saying? We talked to him before. We talked to him after. Okay. I'm using that as a reference point to show you that Africa is not even an African word because they do not use those vowels in their dialect. That's not a guesstimation. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that from my feelings, right?
No, I agree with you.
You give it that?
Even he agrees.
I agree too.
So that is why. That's where. That's why I'm reluctant.
I just put things in context. That's all I'm doing.
That's why I'm reluctant to believe you. Those are reasons. Now you would tell me your sources and why you believe what you believe, and we'll listen to you.
Brother, basically what I was saying is, just as far as the Afro tribe, that's all I was going by. This is an actual tribe you can look up and see for yourself.
Can I say something?
Sure.
One thing I'm going to say is, when it comes to some quote-unquote primary resources, some people get their information from the wrong people, right? So there could have been an explorer that went over to the Afa tribe, or whatever they're called, right?
You said could have been, brother.
Okay.
No, go along. Why did you say could have been?
The reason I said could have been is because we know that the word Africa isn't their language. So that means if they got it through assimilation. That's what you're not understanding.
Like no African.
There's been a whole bunch of white people that came through there, and the name Africa has been spoken through all them languages since the time of Alexander the Great. That's 333 BC.
That's what I'm saying.
Before the Afa tribe.
He said could have been, then he said he knows. So which one do
you didn't know why he said could have been?
Yeah, you didn't let me explain.
So let him build.
Well, don't interrupt me then, and I can build.
right.
You can't base evidence off coulda. You can't say coulda.
No, it's not semantics. We're not arguing the meaning of the word. We're arguing the origin of a word. And now y'all all talking out the same time.
I said the word color, and now I'm speaking semantics. All right, so let me say it like this, right? All right.
Get to the point without.
No. Semantics means this.
Means that you're playing.
You're arguing the meaning of a word.
Thank you.
So it ain't no.
We're not arguing the meaning of a word. We're arguing the origin of one. That's etymology. That is not semantics. Go ahead.
Check this out, man. Look, I'll say it like this, right? There's no possible way in the world, right? That because you're thinking about the Alpha tribe. Did the primary source tell you how long the Alpha tribe has been in Africa? It didn't list that?
I mean, we tell you the truth, we don't know how old we are.
But these people would have been able to tell you if those people were there and they know their history, they have an oral tradition, and they've never been conquered or anything, because Ethiopia is one of the places that quote unquote never been conquered, right?
I heard that, but they submitted.
Yeah. So them submitting and everything, but not being conquered, they should have all their history in store, right? They know about Nebuchadnezzar and all that crap since the Bible. They know that they were the Cushites and stuff. So why the heck wouldn't they know about some tribe, the Alpha tribe? Why they wouldn't have the?
He's trying to build. Is it possible?
Can I speak on that?
He's trying to build.
Ephi is actually a broken off of the Hebraic order. Actually, they've been around for 1,400 years.
He said Alpha tribe, not Epha.
It's still the same thing. The pronunciation on semantics.
Is it spelled the same way? Because E and I don't start with the same letter. That's
Not
English.
battling with you on what you're going with, bro.
But I'm asking if y'all are talking about the same thing,
Yes,
because
the
you're talking
origin.
about something that you weren't even here to know what we're talking about. You just jumping in the conversation.
No, I know what they're talking about because I lived there. I had a ceremony that way of life in Nigeria. I had a ceremony.
He's talking about a tribe from Ethiopia, bro.
All that is connected, my brother.
Not
Each
really.
one had a piece of the puzzle of the truth originally when we was attacked after the Crusades we spread. My blood lineage is royal going back to we fled Africa during the Crusades. Now, what the most don't know, every last continent was black around the whole diaspora.
Do you know when Hannibal was alive?
That ain't the point what we talking about.
Yes, it is.
Hannibal is around the time that Africa would.
Back
It's
to
around
the
the
word
time.
Africa. It was named Africa
So
after
that's-
Africanus, the map maker.
All right, so you agree with us. So that means you can't speak because
I'm speaking
you
on
just
truth.
said.
I'm about
you wanted
dealing
him to
with
speak.
truth.
You need to stop speaking because you just messed up his point.
I ain't messing up no point.
You don't ask me if he
We
can build.
building, right? We building.
You asked me if he could build.
We building.
Order. One at a time. One at a time. Good.
Again,
I'm gonna let
every
y'all
last
catch up.
continent was a part of Hebraic order when they were going under the name of the true name, Yehudim. What they say is forbidden. Alright?
Impossible.
From here in America.
Yehudim couldn't be the true name because we didn't have no E in our name.
First of all, it ain't E, it's with a Y. Yehudim.
That's impossible.
Alright? The word Hebrew is a nickname for original
You're
tribe
Native
with
American,
36
right?
clan like the 36 chromosomes.
Does the Y make a
Europe was black, America was black, all that.
Hold on, one thing at a time. One thing at a time. One thing at a time. One thing. We'll talk about it. We'll talk
All
about
that
it.
is the connection.
Hold on a second.
Get to the connection.
Okay. All right. But we was just having a certain discussion.
But I'm bringing it all together.
Okay.
They'll be the same
All right. Fair enough. We'll talk about that next. But now, let's just deal with. Let's deal with something. Hold on. One thing. Hold on. I'm trying to bring the order back. Y'all gonna talk to him. I'm just trying to establish order. One thing at a time. No, I can rob in 2, 3, 4 out. He good. One thing at a time. The topic. One thing at a time. Hold on. The topic on the table is the origin of that word. That's all we was ever talking about.
All right, hold on.
So just hold on.
Because they don't know that.
He's gonna pick up from there. Go ahead.
They have different information that says otherwise.
See, y'all not being fair.
So look, check me out.
Well, hold on.
Right. All right, so look, because they're not agreeing, so I'm trying to get them to understand what's going on. So look, Leo Scipio Africanus, right? You done heard it from us and you heard it from the brothers behind you. So I'm trying to give you the facts now. It don't make it facts, but if you go look up the facts, that's what makes the facts. And we're telling you that that's what the facts are.
That's what the facts are.
So this is what it is, right? Just hold on a second. Just let me explain this before I... Hold on. Just let me explain this before I forget, because I stutter, bro. I'm going to lose my thing. Please don't... No, don't start that. Please don't start that. I'm going to forget my point. Just stop, bro. Stop. Look.
got too long-winded though.
Check me out.
We forgetting what we about to say.
I understand, but look. I'm trying to explain what you said first, and then let you talk, and then I'm gonna get back to the African thing, right? So look, first thing you said just a second ago was the whole Hebrew thing, right? Because he mentioned the Hebrew thing. So I'm gonna explain this like I did the first time, right? The language was not originally called Hebrew. The writing style was called cuneiform, right? We call it the Lashon Kadash. We don't, right, the holy tongue, because that's what we called it in our holy tongue. That's what it would have been called back then in that time, to say holy tongue, right? Because we called it the set apart tongue. It was set apart because it was our people that went to go take it and use it. So basically that tongue was the same tongue that was being spoken in Mesopotamia. Yes. It can be proven by the way that we write the dialect. You can, hold on, don't interrupt me. If you go look up something called the Lashon Kadash, right?
No, he don't even need to look that up. He can go look up cuneiform.
All right, you can look up cuneiform, right? And then you look up Paleo Hebrew or Old Canaanite. They're the same thing. It's just different scholars call it different things, right? So Paleo Hebrew and Old Canaanite and cuneiform. If you look them up in the way that the letters are, the way that the writing samples are, they're completely identical. It's the same language that the Native Americans were writing down when they came here to America. It's the same language that the Hebrews had when they were in Africa speaking, right? So this is what I'm trying to tell you.
Right.
That that language is not a language that comes from white people.
That's that same dude that was over here earlier. They so bored as hell.
Alright, go ahead.
Alright, so look, just to bring it to an example that you'll understand, now that you know the history of that language, right? Because the original name Hebrew is to cross over, but we had the language before we were called Hebrews. That's the point I'm trying to get to, right? In that language, the time span of that language is way before Egypt. Because any scholar that you go to will tell you Mesopotamia is before Egypt. The only people that started saying otherwise is when young Pharaoh came on the scene with his fake ass facts. All right. So this is what I'm trying to tell you now. Basically, to give you an example, the same way that our language is old enough to go all the way back to Mesopotamia and we still have it originally, we know that the white man hasn't tainted it, right? So we know that there's certain words that we say that they wouldn't have said. So to put it in perspective, the real name of our place that we call Israel today is Yasharallah, right? But the white man who took over the place and made his form of Hebrew, which is called Yiddish, which is contemporary Hebrew, right? The same thing that,
Yiddish, yes, mixed with Aramaic.
Right, exactly. So, right. Exactly, that's what Yiddish is, German mixed with Aramaic, right? So the whole point is, the same way that they have that language and we have Yasharallah, they have Israel, we know that those are two different words, right? Our people wouldn't have said Israel because it's not a word that we would have been able to pronounce with our dialect. There was no E in our language back then, right? So what I'm trying to tell you is, before Alexander the Great, there wouldn't have been an Ethiopian who would have been in Africa and had a name for Africa before the word Africa existed, right? There wouldn't have been one of those people that called the place Africa before Alexander the Great took over the whole dang place.
Because that dialect wouldn't have been over there.
There were no wars between the Romans and the Africans before Alexander the Great. So for there to be two Punic wars, that tells you that it spanned from the stuff that he did back then. Meaning that the same way that the Americans spread their language to every single country that they conquered, the Greeks did the same thing.
Right.
So the fact that a tribe that's old in Ethiopia would know the name Afrique or Africa isn't a secret, because Alexander the Great is from the time of Jesus. He's in the freaking book of Maccabees.
He was half black.
I ain't worried about that. But look, check me out. So Alexander the Great was yeah. All right, I see what you're saying. So Alexander the Great was he was basically from that time period, right? So he's way before, I'm sure, any African tribe would have been called, well, he's before any African tribe would have been called the African, right? Because that name Africa wouldn't have existed in Africa before Alexander the Great. That's what we're trying to tell you. So basically, there's no possible way in the world that Africa could have been called Africa by Ethiopian originally.
Right.
If they called it Africa, it's because if they got it through assimilation, right? Or someplace, yeah, right, a colonization of some sort. That means some white man moved to a place near Africa where that Ephod tribe or Aphod tribe was around, and they gave them some type of form of their language, which allowed them to take the word Africa and call it whatever the white man was calling it. That means that they were colonized at some point. You understand what I'm saying? That's what I'm trying to explain to you. that the Afar tribe was at some point colonized by the Greeks for them to have the word Africa in their dialects, period.
Facts.
Because it's not African word.
But we already have moved past that though.
Huh?
We already have moved past
But you don't
No, you might have moved past that, but he didn't because he's still shaking his head.
We both
But you tell the truth. Africana was a map maker. According to modern day
we're
history,
gonna
they say he conquered Africa.
He asked some questions. Like verses.
No, he wanted to know where Hebrew came from.
So you want? Well, why explain where Hebrew came from?
I said, no, we answered that.
The Hebrew language came from the Enochian, what they called it Aramaic. But he spoke tongues and vibration. They deal with alphabet.
Not really, but he's close though. He's very close.
Right, so I've been there, bro. The Wall of Liberia breaks down what the word Israel means. Israel's the acronym.
Israel's not the real name though. So go ahead.
The acronym. ISIS, Rafael.
No, because it can't be because that's not the real word, bro.
Thank you.
The real word is Yasharallah.
That's not even original.
Yasharallah is the real word.
That's not the original either.
That's the real word. It ain't Israel.
Israel wasn't the name because it's an acronym of the blood lineage.
No.
The Mennonites, all those
Anyway,
acronyms.
yeah. Go ahead.
No, we got to deal with that because these are Israelites. They got to learn that.
That's historically a fact.
That's historically a lie.
Every last pyramids, all them pictures are all for
We built the pyramid.
You can't engage him until he chill out. That's on the Wall of Liberia. You can't engage him until he chill out.
I'm gonna remember.
Until he chill out, you can't engage him. Yo, you got to chill out. You got to hold on.
I was listening.
One thing at a time. One thing at a time, man. One thing at a time. All right. Go show them that in Genesis 14:13 where Abraham is called a Hebrew, and then show them where Hebrew is.
It ain't nothing written in the hieroglyphs they would call Hebrew.
Brother, come on.
The word Hebrew means the ones who bring the truth. That's what it was.
Brother,
Hey,
no it doesn't.
bro, do you know what we were called in Egypt?
Word.
What were we called in Egypt?
What we call in Egypt, we were the sons and daughters of light, the clans of Yehudim.
All right, you're lying. They call us the Shazoo, so you don't know what you're talking about. Be quiet. You can't speak the whole rest of the time you're here. They call us the Shazoo.
And the Wall of Liberia.
Ehudim is not a word that a commission can say.
It's an ancient word.
Ehudim is not a word that a commission can say.
If you don't know, you don't know. Have you been to the land, my brother?
No, but I know people that are from the land.
I've been in
I used to date
in Africa.
I used to date an Egyptian.
You saying you date, they ain't Egyptian. The Egyptian word mean land of the burnt face. Those no crackers
She called herself
a... Stop. Ain't no black
Until he chill out.
mean burnt face.
Until he chill out.
We can't talk down
Yeah.
knowledge.
We can't, hey bro, until you chill out, we cannot talk to
He
you.
said Kemites, Nuwapians, Moors,
Leave him alone until he chills out.
3 different people.
If you ain't been to the land, bro, you still going down with somebody else taught you. You gotta go to the land.
Listen, don't engage him until he chill out.
I'm just speaking on truth. Bro.
Okay, good, but let us finish talking first. We'll talk to you. Let us finish talking to them. We talking to them.
This is funny, bro.
Bro, you know you can't do that. You can't just come interrupt. Now we gotta bring the Bible out. Sirach 11:7.
Yeah.
Read it.
Oh yeah, we ain't done it right now.
Get that shit.
All right, and then we gonna
great.
talk about the tablet. That was next. Yo,
I got tablets on my phone.
we was interested in it, and
We
we
can
was
read
gonna
it
go there with you
right now.
But when the madness comes, we gotta shut the madness down. Then we gotta reboot.
I got a whole list of tablets for your behind. I got coffin text and everything. You don't want to be commissioned. You could be commissioned by yourself, bro. We got 4 mothers from Kemet, but we ain't got no 4 fathers from Kemet.
Yo, Eliel, stop. Don't engage him until he chill out.
I'm sorry. So like,
Sirach 11:7.
Sirach chapter 11 verse 7. Blame not before thou hast examined the truth.
read it again.
Blame not before thou hast examined the truth.
Go ahead.
Understand first and then rebuke.
So what you did, brother, you came in the middle of that thing and you don't even know that you messed up their whole argument. Because they had an argument against us to say that Leo Scipio Africanus did not invent the word Africa or call the place Africa. And you came over here and you messed up their argument, bro. And he brought you into the fold. He was trying to let you talk because he thought you was going to back him up. And you messed that thing up for the brother, man.
Come on, man.
You were right.
Now, back to what we was talking about. Back to he's gonna respect us. This brother's gonna respect us and let us finish what we saying. He cool. He all right. Now we're gonna get Hebrew out the Bible. Go to Genesis 14 and read that.
This is the book of 14? Yes,
Check.
This is the book of Genesis, chapter 14 and verse 13.
All right.
And there came one that had escaped and told Abram, the Hebrew.
What did the Bible call Abram?
The Hebrew.
What did the Bible call Abram?
The Hebrew.
This is what the Bible called the man. Listen, brothers. Abraham is called the Hebrew. The same guy you saying come from Ur and Chaldee. Look, he's called a Hebrew. That means when he arrived, they knew he was a Hebrew. That means Hebrews was in Ur and Chaldee. It's not like it came later and was. Do y'all understand what I just said? Read it again.
And there came one that had escaped and told Abram, the Hebrew.
And told who?
Abram, the Hebrew.
This is even before his name was changed to Abraham. This is early in his life. So they know that the man is a Hebrew. Even though he's from Ur and Chaldee, they knew he was a Hebrew. That means Hebrews been here. That's what we're trying to tell you. Show him that. Go to Genesis chapter 10 and get Eber. You got it? You was holding it? The sons of Shem. I thought you had your hand on it. Don't make him wait. You make Jake wait, he forget what you're talking about.
Take a time, King.
It was right there.
Page.
Right here.
Okay, yeah.
Con. The book of Genesis, chapter 11, verse 16.
Read.
Con. Start at Shem. The book of Genesis, chapter 11 and verse 11. And Shem lived after he begot Arphaxad 500 years and begot sons and daughters. And Arphaxad lived 530 years and begot Salah. And Arphaxad lived after he begot Salah 403 years and begot sons and daughters. And Salah lived 30 years and begot Eber.
Who?
Eber.
This is where Hebrew comes from. The son of Shem. The first people that repopulated the earth according to the scriptures after the flood destroyed civilization. Hebrew is ancient. Ain't no Ur and Chaldee yet. Ain't no Mesopotamia yet. It has not been established. Hebrew is before that. So when the brother said, no, it's not, and we can, where does Abraham come from? And he a Chaldean? That doesn't matter.
It's like
Hebrew was here before that. That's what we're trying to show y'all. Everybody understand? All right, carry
and
on.
also, you shook your head like you didn't believe when he said that the brother, it was basically 3 people from Shem that populated the earth, right? Or like from Noah. Well, like from Noah. That's what.
Right. That sounds like some type of fantasy type of stuff. That's not a factual thing.
Well, you seem to believe in facts, right?
Absolutely.
What they call today's science backs it up by what they call DNA today. If you believe in any of that stuff, right? So I'm trying to tell you that.
You don't believe in DNA?
No,
Let him finish.
Let me finish what I'm saying. So, because there's brothers and sisters that don't. So what I'm saying is this. That
Let him finish.
Just let me finish what I'm saying. When I finish my statement, you'll know what I believe, right? So, we just read a scripture that said, don't interrupt a man in his speech.
Go ahead.
Understand first, then rebuke, right? So look, basically what you have to do is this. DNA tells us, the whole reason that white people have this whole thing that they teach in church, everybody's related, right? We're all sons of Abraham and stuff, is because of what their DNA tells us. It's because, well, I know we're not all related. But what I'm trying to tell you is, the DNA tells us that everybody comes from one common ancestor, right? DNA tells us that the white man and the black man come from one common mitochondrial ancestor. That's also backed up in the Bible. Her name is Rebecca, right? Isaac's wife. You understand? The woman who had Esau and Jacob. Esau's supposed to be the white man, Jacob's supposed to be us, right? So that's also backed up by science. I have that actual article which was posted on CNN on my cell phone. I can read it for you if you want me to. So, all right.
Hey, and here's some.
Israel, here's something to think about.
Sometimes brothers believe.
For you to be here today, hold on, watch this. For you to be here today, sitting here, your lineage has to go all the way back to the first people that ever existed. For you to be sitting right here, you go all the way back to the first people who ever existed just by you being here. You understand that? So that's common sense. Backing the brother up, which he explained, they ain't listen. That's common sense. Backing the brother up with what he brought scientifically. For you to be here, you go all the way back to the first people that ever existed. This is a fact. Where did you come out of the air? Did a tree drop you or a stork? No. You were created through a lineage, right? And there's a common ancestor. That means there's a beginning to this.
Here it is, right here.
It wasn't just like people came out the dirt in Africa, then people came out a tree in China, and then other people came out the water in the Philippines. It didn't go like that. It goes all the way back to a common ancestor. And that's exactly what the brother is saying. He just said it sounds like a fantasy that we all come from 3 people, but then he just agreed that we all come from 1 or 2 people. You see what I'm saying? So is it a fantasy or is it real, brother?
Lineage, brother.
So you go back to 2 human beings that is at the beginning, because you was not invented out of thin air.
Absolutely.
You was born from somewhere. So there has to be a beginning. So that means that you saying that us coming from Ham, Shem, and Japheth,
I'm gonna show you some real quick.
is a fantasy. Why? Why is that a fantasy? If you just acknowledge that we come from 2 people way back at the beginning automatically.
I know, but what you're doing is you're basically putting in the context of just the Bible. I'm not speaking about the Bible. These 2 people referring to are Adam and Eve.
Oh, well, you in the wrong place, because up here all we deal with is the Bible.
That's right.
That's y'all over here, but you got other people.
Adam and Eve comes from the Bible, don't they? You just said the 2 people you're talking about are Adam and Eve, but you're not talking about the Bible. Adam and Eve come from the Bible, don't they, guys?
Yes.
But so like,
That ain't what we talking about right now. Now you going off topic. What's up now?
Hold on, man. I crap want to say something.
I gotta.
Hold on, wait. He just.
Hold on, let him finish his
Hang
statement.
on.
I know. I just wanted.
Let the brother say he waited.
The scripture.
I know.
Let him build.
I just wanted to just ask y'all a question because I was out here teaching originally for a lot of the brothers who was out here. But my question is, no, I'm just saying I was out here teaching a lot of them when y'all had walked up. So my question to you is, from the both of you guys, because I don't know your end goal or whatever, but I just want to ask you, why are you here?
Just to spread knowledge and build. That's all it is.
Now, are you coming to seek or are you coming to share? Both. Now, if we're willing to share and we're willing to give you that, are you going to receive it? Because if someone is saying, I'm going to give you something, open your hand, receive it.